It will give you goosebumps. Alan Watts on living. What if I told you that everything you're chasing, success, security, meaning, isn't the point of life at all? What if the harder you try to control your life, the further you drift away from truly living? Alan Watts, one of the most profound philosophers of the 20th century, devoted his life to answering this question: what does it really mean to live? And his answers will give you goosebumps because they turn everything you think about life upside down. Let's start with the question, why are you here? Not in some grand cosmic sense, but in this moment. Why are you watching this video? Maybe it's because you're searching for something, a sense of clarity, purpose, or even just relief from the pressure of everyday life. But Watts would tell you that the very act of searching is where we go wrong. He believed that life isn't a problem to be solved or a puzzle to be completed. It's not a ladder to climb or a race to win. Life is a dance, a play, a piece of music. And the point of a dance isn't to get to the end, it's to enjoy every step. The point of a piece of music isn't to rush to the final note, it's to lose yourself in the beauty of each sound. But here's the paradox: most of us don't live like this. We live as if life is a series of destinations, each one promising happiness, fulfillment, or peace. If I can just get that promotion, then I'll be happy. If I can just find the right person, then everything will be okay. If I can just solve this one problem, then I can finally relax. But Watts would ask, what happens when you reach that destination? Do you finally feel complete, or do you start chasing the next thing? If you're honest with yourself, you already know the answer. The moment you achieve one goal, another takes its place. The moment you fix one problem, another arises. Here's the truth: Watts wants us to see life isn't about arriving anywhere. It's about the journey itself. The problem isn't that life is hard or unpredictable, it's that we've forgotten how to truly experience it. We become so focused on the future, so obsessed with what's next, that we've lost touch with the only moment that's real, this one. But why do we do this? Why are we so desperate to control life, to plan it, to force it into a shape that makes us feel safe? Watts believed it's because we're afraid of uncertainty, afraid of failure, afraid of the one thing we can't escape: death. Think about it. How much of your life is shaped by fear? Fear of not being enough, fear of losing what you have, fear of the unknown. And how much of that fear keeps you from truly living?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
But Watts would tell us that the way to overcome this fear isn't to fight it or ignore it, but to face it. To realize that life is inherently uncertain, and that's what makes it beautiful. To accept that nothing is permanent, and that's what makes every moment precious. Let me ask you, when was the last time you were fully present? Not thinking about the past or worrying about the future, but completely immersed in the now. If you can't remember, don't worry, you're not alone. Most of us spend our lives anywhere but the present, constantly chasing a future that never arrives. Watts teaches us to let go of this chase, to stop trying to control life and start experiencing it, to let go of the need for answers and embrace the mystery. Because here's the secret: the meaning of life isn't something you find. It's something you create moment by moment, breath by breath. The illusion of control, why letting go, is the key to freedom. Have you ever felt like you're holding on too tightly? Like you're gripping life with all your strength, trying to control every outcome, only to find that the harder you try, the more everything slips through your fingers? Alan Watts believed that this is one of the greatest illusions we live by: the illusion of control. We think that if we can just plan enough, prepare enough, strive enough, we can master life. But the truth is, control is a mirage, and chasing it only makes us prisoners of our own minds. Think about it. How often do you stress over things that are completely beyond your control? The actions of other people, the future, the past, the endless what-ifs that keep you awake at night. We live as if life is a chessboard and we're the players moving every piece. But what's would remind us that life isn't something you manage, it's something you participate in. Let's break it down. Imagine you're in the ocean, caught in a current. You can thrash around, fight against the waves, and exhaust yourself trying to swim in the opposite direction. Or you can relax, float, and let the current carry you. Which one sounds more peaceful? Which one feels like freedom? What's taught that life is like that? It flows on its own, whether we fight it or not. The more we resist, the more we suffer. But when we let go, when we stop trying to control every little thing, we discover something amazing. Life begins to flow through us instead of against us. But here's the catch: letting go feels terrifying. Why? Because we've been taught to believe that control equals safety. If we can just predict the future, we'll be okay. If we can just plan for every possible outcome, we'll be prepared. But Watts would argue that this is an illusion. The future is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of control can change that. The only real safety lies in trusting the flow of life. Let me ask you, what are you trying to control right now that's causing you stress? Maybe it's a relationship, a career path, or even your own emotions. Whatever it is, ask yourself, this is my effort to control this situation actually making me feel better, or is it making me feel worse? Watts believed that true freedom comes not from controlling life, but from surrendering to it. And surrender doesn't mean giving up, it means accepting life as it is, not as you wish it were. It means trusting that the current will carry you, even if you don't know where it's taking you. Here's a metaphor Watts often used. Imagine you're playing a game. If you take the game too seriously, if you're obsessed with winning, you lose the joy of playing. But if you treat the game as a dance, as something to enjoy for its own sake, you find freedom. Life works the same way. The moment you stop trying to win at life is the moment you start living it. But letting go isn't just about external control, it's also about letting go of the need to control yourself. Think about how often you judge your own thoughts and feelings. I shouldn't feel this way. I should be more productive. I need to be better. This constant self-criticism is another form of control, and it keeps you trapped in a cycle of shame and frustration. What if, instead of fighting yourself, you simply allowed yourself to be? What if you accepted your emotions, your flaws, and your fears as natural parts of being human? Watts would tell you that this kind of self-acceptance is the ultimate freedom, because when you stop trying to control who you are, you open the door to becoming who you're meant to be. So, here's the challenge Watts would give us: stop clinging, stop grasping, stop trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, trust the flow of life. Trust that even when things don't go according to plan, the current will carry you where you need to go. And here's the question to reflect on: what would happen if you let go? Not in a way that means giving up, but in a way that means trusting yourself, trusting life, and trusting the moment. Because here's the secret: the freedom you're searching for isn't out there in the world. It's already within you, waiting for you to stop fighting and start flowing. The beauty of the present moment, where life truly happens. Take a moment right now. Stop whatever you're doing, close your eyes, and just breathe. Feel the air filling your lungs, the subtle sensation of your body relaxing, the sounds around you. For just a second, experience the moment as it is: no past, no future, no distractions. This is it. This is life. Alan Watts believed that everything we're looking for, peace, joy, meaning, it's all right here, in the present moment. But the tragedy is that most of us never truly live here. Think about it: how much of your life is spent anywhere but the present? Maybe you're replaying something that happened yesterday, an argument or a mistake you can't stop thinking about. Or maybe you're obsessing over the future, what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, or in 10 years. We live in a constant state of what's next, always chasing something just beyond our reach. But as Watts would remind us, the past is gone, the future doesn't exist yet, and the present is all we have. And yet, we treat the present like a stepping stone, as if it's just a means to an end. I'll be happy when I get that promotion, I'll relax when I finish this project, I'll enjoy life once I've achieved X, Y, or Z. But here's the thing, when you finally get that promotion, or finish that project, or achieve that goal, what happens? Are you suddenly at peace? Or do you move the finish line and set your sights on the next thing? Watts called this the if-only trap. If only I had more money, then I'd be happy. If only I could find the right person, then I'd feel complete. If only I could fix this one thing, then life would be perfect. But the truth is, happiness isn't something you'll find in the future. It's something you create in the present. Let me ask you, when was the last time you fully experienced the present moment? Not as a means to an end, but as an end in itself. When was the last time you drank a cup of coffee and actually tasted it, or walked outside and really noticed the world around you? Most of us rush through these moments, distracted by our thoughts, missing the beauty that's right in front of us. Watts believed this is the root of our dissatisfaction. We're so busy chasing life that we forget to live it. He often compared life to a piece of music. The point of music isn't to reach the end, it's to enjoy every note. Imagine listening to a symphony, but only caring about the final chord. You'd miss the entire experience. And yet, this is how we treat life. So how do we break free from this trap? How do we stop treating the present as a stepping stone and start living in it fully? Watts would tell us to surrender to the moment, to stop thinking of life as a series of tasks to complete or problems to solve, to let go of our obsession with outcomes and simply be. Here's a simple exercise. The next time you feel your mind wandering to the past or future, pause and take a deep breath. Bring your attention to what's happening right now. What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you see? This might sound small, but it's incredibly powerful, because when you reconnect with the present, you reconnect with life itself. But here's the deeper challenge: living in the present requires trust. Trust that you don't need to control everything. Trust that you don't need to know how everything will turn out. Trust that this moment, as imperfect as it might seem, is enough. Watts often said, the meaning of life is just to be alive, not to achieve, or fix, or figure out, just to be. And here's the paradox: the more you live in the present, the more joy and peace you'll find. Because when you let go of the past and future, you free yourself from regret and worry. You stop carrying the weight of what was and what might be, and you start experiencing the lightness of what is. Let me ask you one final question. What are you missing in this moment because you're too focused on the next? It could be something small: a smile, a breath, a feeling of gratitude. But whatever it is, it's the only thing that's real. Watts teaches us that the present isn't just where life happens, it's where life is. And when you learn to live here, when you surrender to the beauty of now, you'll discover that everything you've been searching for has been with you all along. The dance of life, finding joy in the flow of existence. Alan Watts often compared life to a dance of flowing, rhythmic movement, where the goal isn't to get somewhere but to fully immerse yourself in the experience. Think about it: when you're dancing, you're not focused on reaching a specific point on the floor. You're simply moving, feeling, and letting the music guide you. Life, Watts believed, works the very same way. The problem is, most of us live as if life is a race or a checklist, not a dance. We treat life as something to conquer, something to win. We're always trying to get to the next step, the next job, the next relationship, the next achievement. But Watts would ask, what happens when you get there? Is there really a finish line that makes it all worth it? Or do you just find yourself chasing the next thing, and the next, and the next, and the next? This endless chase is what makes life feel like such a struggle. It's what makes us feel like we're constantly falling behind, even when we're doing well. Watts called this the great hoax of human existence, the idea that life is always about what comes next, as if happiness is waiting for us in some distant future. But here's the truth: if you can't find joy in the dance of life right now, you'll never find it anywhere. Let's slow down for a moment. Imagine you're standing in a river. The water flows around you, endlessly moving forward. You can try to fight the current, gripping onto rocks and struggling to hold your ground. Or you can let go, lift your feet, and let the river carry you. Watts believed that life is like this river. You can resist it, trying to force it to flow the way you want, or you can surrender to it, trusting its natural rhythm. But how do you let go? How do you stop resisting life and start flowing with it? The first step, according to Watts, is to recognize that life doesn't have to be a struggle. Struggle comes from our attachment to outcomes, from our need to control how everything turns out. When we let go of that need, when we accept life as it is instead of how we think it should be, the struggle dissolves. Here's a question to reflect on: what are you struggling against right now? Maybe it's a situation that isn't unfolding the way you want. Maybe it's a fear of failure or a desire for certainty. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped fighting? What would happen if I trusted the flow of life instead of trying to control it? Watts would tell you that the joy of life is found not in controlling the dance, but in participating in it fully. This doesn't mean you stop striving or pursuing your goals. It means you stop attaching your happiness to the outcome. You set your intentions, take your steps, and then let life unfold as it will. You trust that the dance will carry you where you're meant to go. But here's the deeper truth: the dance of life isn't just about joy, it's also about pain. Watts acknowledged that life is full of suffering, uncertainty, and loss. But he believed that even these moments are part of the rhythm. Just as a piece of music includes both high and low notes, life includes both joy and sorrow. And when you embrace the full spectrum of the dance, when you accept the lows as well as the highs, you discover a deeper kind of peace. Think about the last time you faced something difficult. Maybe it was a breakup, a failure, or the loss of someone you loved. At the moment it was painful, but looking back, can you see how that experience shaped you? How did it teach you something, open a door, or bring you to where you are now? Watts believed that every step of the dance, even the painful ones, has its place. Let me ask you, what would your life look like if you treated it as a dance? What if you stopped trying to control every step and started moving with the rhythm instead? What if you trusted that life, like music, knows where it's going, even if you don't? Watts teaches us that the secret to living isn't in finding the perfect path, it's in embracing the path you're already on. It's in realizing that the journey itself is the destination. And when you do that, when you stop chasing and start dancing, you unlock a kind of freedom that's impossible to describe. Because here's the ultimate truth: life isn't a problem to solve or a goal to achieve. It's a moment-to-moment experience, a flowing, ever-changing dance. And the more you let go, the more you'll find yourself in harmony with its rhythm. So take a deep breath, listen to the music of life, and let yourself dance.